Hello, good afternoon, and a very warm and slightly damp welcome to the Life's Good, and indeed plot 24. And as you can see, I've been up here several times in the last week, and I have been able to clean out the raspberries, all of the overgrowth that was there, the grass, thistles, docks, or you name it, there was all sorts in there, and a lot of other debris as well, metal, old metal, rusty metal tools and bits and pieces in there. I've cleaned it all out. I've noticed that some of the canes that I've left behind here, the leaves are withering back, but that won't hurt. They will pick up. They'll be okay next year, I hope. But I've managed to clean that out. I've put some stakes in, and I fully intend today stretching some wire across between those stakes in order to tie the raspberry canes back to the wire. So that's a little job for later this afternoon. And I've also been able to clean out and clear out these two square beds, if you like to call them that. They're 8 foot by 8 foot, each of them, 8 feet by 8 feet. In metric, that's something like 2.4 meters by 2.4 meters. So I've got 2 of those ready for planting in. And just down the road here, I mentioned before that Ems on a plot down there had given me some leeks. So I've got a handful of leeks here. I think there's about half a dozen or so, 6 or 7 leeks in there to plant out. And I'll probably pop them in one of these beds. And I also sowed some January King cabbage prior to taking over the plot in readiness. They have germinated really well, and these need to be sort of pricked out now, thinned out a bit, and potted on. But these will be ideal to go out in one of these plots as an overwinter green. So these will be fine, I'm sure, in here. And we may have some nice cabbage in a couple of months with a bit of luck that we can start using. And there's a lady called Tanya, 2 plots up in that direction, and I spoke with her earlier today, and she's got a few more leeks left over that she said that I could have to put in here, and she's going to leave them somewhere on my plot next time she comes up. So all very friendly, lots of gifts to welcome me onto the plot. And there's a few other things I want to show you that I've been up to here. I'll turn you around and face you back towards where I've put the compost bin, and a few other bits and pieces over there I want to show you. So hold tight, I'll turn you around and we'll go over there and have a look and see what's going on. In my last video, I was having problems with the sound on my microphone. I had a radio microphone I've been using to make these videos, and that has given up the ghost completely. I really have no idea what's wrong with it. Everything appears to be all right, but it's just not actually recording sound. So I've had to revert back to my old wired one. So I'm limited as to how far I can get from the camera. So if I walk away and you suddenly plummet to the floor, you know I've forgotten that I'm attached to you with this cable. Right, behind me, let's have a look and see what's going on. My compost bin that I made. I haven't shown you, or I haven't made rather, the video to show how I actually constructed this. I am going to be making a second one to stand next to it. When I do make that second bin, I will record all of that and show you just exactly how I went about knocking this compost bin together. And just to show you, this front section, these little panels lift out, so you can actually take them out to access or turn what's in there and gradually build them up to the top. But ideal little compost bin. That's its proper location. Next to it, as and when I get one, I'm going to be putting my shed, and as I said, the second compost bin next to this bin. So there's that in progress. I've got an awful lot of mess sitting around here at the moment. I'm finding bricks, bits of concrete, all sorts of things, and a wealth of metal. Honestly, you wouldn't believe, guys, what I've pulled out of that raspberry hedge. We've got a fork and a rake, an old sickle. My father used to call it a sickle. I think you call it a scythe. It's seen better days, but it seems to be fairly intact. I suppose a new blade on this handle and it would be fine for using. And this object, I'm assuming it's some sort of a dibber. It's got a heavy bullet shaped sort of pointed end here, heavy bar, and yeah, for making holes for some reason or other. I have no idea what its intended use would be, but clearly some sort of a tool for making holes, and that was in amongst all the raspberries that I managed to pull that out the other day. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but early in the mornings at the moment I've been delivering bread for a bakery, and some of the customers that I deliver the bread to are burger vans and sort of caravan cafes, that sort of thing. And one of the lads, we happened to mention gardening, and I said I'd taken on an allotment, and he turned around and said, would these be any use to you? And he's given me a stack of these things. I'm sure some of you are going to say, I know what that is straight away. Do you know what it is? They actually, they click together. You can clip them together to make a sort of a carpet or a floor area, and the soil sits in them. Plants or grass or something can grow through them, but when they're on the floor, click together like this, you can walk on them and not make the ground wet and muddy and all churned up. So if you were down here in the winter and you've got this one area by your compost frame and your shed and areas that you regularly tread on, you can quite easily cause it to dip. It gets muddy, soggy, collects water, it gets a bit messy. So these, mounted on the ground surface with the soil spread over, all click together, make a nice even hard wearing floor to walk on outside the busiest parts of the allotment. So I'm going to be setting to putting these, to start with, they're going to be let in front of that in front of the compost bin, and extended across in front of the shed, and if I've got enough round the sides where there's little path exits from here, then I can use those to protect the ground. Yeah, so a lot's happening. I'm getting there slowly. It's been hard work, especially clearing that ground and getting those beds ready, but I just wanted to quickly show you all what I've been up to and the sort of progress I've been making. And I'm going to crack on now and put that wire on those posts, and I'll let you see how I go about doing that. So turn you around again and we'll go over to the raspberries and see if we get that wire fixed up. Well, I've got this length of green, like a plastic coated wire. I suppose that's about probably 3 or 4 mil thick, something like that, about 1/8 of an inch thick, and there's sufficient on this coil to do 2 lengths here as far as I'm aware. And all I've done is I've wrapped the wire around this post at the height I want the top wire, and I'm attaching it using these wire staples. They're galvanized staples for attaching wire to walls, posts, that sort of thing. Not your sort of staple that you would find on your desk in the little staple gun, but these you hit in with a hammer. These just straddle the wire on the post here, and you hit them in with a hammer and hold everything in place. So we'll get this one started. I'm going to put a couple on this side. These posts, incidentally, I popped in, set them in the ground. They've been creosoted, or creocoated. I think is the word of the product was creocoat, not creosote. But they've been treated, and I set them in the ground here with a mix of postcrete and an extra helping of sand. So it's not extremely hard like concrete in the bottom there. It will break open if I really need it to, but it's holding these posts nicely upright for the purpose of holding up or supporting all of these wonderful raspberry plants. So if I just go around this post, one on that side, I'm going to pop one on this side, and again one on the front. I might put two on this side. But that's held on there very tight, and what I can do now is stretch it up to the far post, pull it out nice and tight, wrap it around the post and staple it at that end, and again in the middle against that post, and that'll be sufficiently strong enough to hold these raspberries up. And what I do is I pull these up to the fence or up to the wire and tie them on with string. That's all I've ever done. So I have the wire in place and attach the raspberries to the wire using string. Just a quick close-up where I've attached the wire to this top post. I've wrapped it right the way around, so on this far edge here, staple in there, wrap the wire around the back, staple in there, staple on there, staple on the front, and I've stretched it out between the posts to the far end, and I stapled it in the middle. And if you look carefully now, you'll see there's the top wire that I've just put on there, and down below here there's a second wire. It's about 18 inches off the floor, and that also stretches across. And a quick look from this angle, this is the end post on the outskirts of the whole allotment plot, and you can see there's wire at the top and the one at the bottom stretched right the way across, and they're stapled to that middle post over there. And all I need to do now is go along there and tie those canes to that wire using some pieces of string. Well, I've got the wires on for the raspberries, and I've had a chat with a few of my neighbours that I'd not met before, and a lovely lady's just popped up and brought me some runner beans. So we've got some runner beans to go with our dinner this evening. Isn't that amazing? They're very friendly around here. Everybody's been very pleasant and welcomed me to the site here. There's about 30 allotments on this site, I guess, 30 or 35 allotments, something like that. Plot 24 being the 24th of those, and I'm somewhat in the middle. I'm surrounded by plot holders. The one behind me has got sweet corn growing on it. Apparently that's all she grows every year. There's a complete allotment of sweet corn, and she uses it to make flour, apparently. Interesting. Well, my raspberries are sorted, apart from the fact I didn't bring my string with me, so I can't tie them up to the wire today. So that's a job for tomorrow, if I can get back up here. I got the leeks to plant out. I need to pot on my cabbages, and I'm quite sure there's a lot of other work to do when I get the chance, and I certainly need to start cleaning out the bed adjacent to these two beds here. That area just to your left as you're looking at me, that needs desperate clean out, and I'm thinking of putting some raised beds in there, or certainly not so much raised beds but framed beds. Makes it a bit easier to maintain and control. Well, I'm going to get on and do a few more things, and I've got beans to go with my supper this evening. You can see the mess over there behind me. That is work in progress. That will be tidied up eventually, but in that area is going to be, as I said before, the shed, the compost frames, and the sort of the central hub, if you like, for my plot, with the pathway leading from the shed straight out to the main thoroughfare off the site, all to be created in the not too distant future. Well, everybody, look, thank you so much for watching the video. Please, if you like what you're seeing here, hit the subscribe button. It is free to do so. It just shows your support for the channel, and you will be notified if I put a new video on, especially if you hit that bell button. So hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, give us a thumbs up, tell your friends about us if they're interested in gardening and what we, or I, am trying to do here with regard to the good life in the life's good. Let them know, share, and see if we can get some more support online, huh? Guys, you look after each other, you stay safe, you be happy. Come back and see us soon. And I look forward to seeing you again here on plot 24 in The Life's Good. Bye bye.